be addicts be. I'm eating like B.
Keep your head up, even though I know you're fed up in life. Be throwing your punches, but you still gotta get up and fight. They low blows, but look, don't let it get you. Cause God, he got a plan, but Satan be trying to get you. I know you feel you're seeking, but folk come to get you. Don't worry about the now, think of the bigger picture. Stay woke and stay focused. Don't let little stuff get you. Don't be scared of the devil when you can square up with us. I stand tall, don't fall, I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall, I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall, I'm a champion. Say I'm a champion, say I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall.
Hello, and welcome to My Mental Health Matters, also known as Mommy Mondays. Hello. Welcome to this new week. We are 24 days into 2022. How are you feeling, everybody? How are you doing today? Well, if you don't know who I am, my name is Ashley CORBETT, and I am a maternal mental health coach. That means that I am a coach for mothers and their mental health. All right. I am also the CEO and founder of Conquering You, LLC. And I'm also a licensed mental health clinician. So today I am here holding down the fort. Normally, I have my sister, my other queen mother, Miss Lyric, here with me as she is the hostess with the mostest, but she could not be here with us. And so we just want to lift her and her family up in our prayers and ask for strength, peace, and comfort during this time. If you could all do that with me, take a moment to just say a silent, encouraging prayer for our sister, Miss Lyric, and hostess with the mostest, the beautiful beast. That would be greatly appreciated. So let's take a moment. All right. And also, I would love for you to send some encouraging words to Miss Lyric. Say, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your family. I just want to encourage you that it's going to be okay, that you are doing some amazing work, that, God has big plans and he is going to see you through this and your family, and he's going to comfort you. And I'll say this to my sister as well, because she is in the background. I want you to know that I love you. If you need me, if you need anything from me, you just let me know. We are in this. I am here standing with you. And whatever support that I can provide to you, let me know. All right. So thank you for taking that time out, everybody, to just think about encouraging words and sending up a prayer for Ms. Lyric and her family. All right. So let's talk today on My Mental Health Matters. Special request from Ms. Lyric to talk about disappointment and depression. So here's what is going to go down. Okay. For today's broadcast, we are going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to talk about depression and disappointment. Then we're going to take a quick break. And then after that, I'll come back and I'll be able to answer the questions that you wrote into us. Sounds like a plan? All right. Fantastic. All right. So when we're talking about depression, right, a lot of people, the first thing that comes to a person's mind is sadness. When we think about depression, we think about people, feeling down, feeling low, not having energy. And while that all is true, there are other symptoms of depression that we talked about weeks ago, right? Back in 2021. All right. What's so interesting is that depression can get a bit confused with disappointment. And I'll share with you why that is, what that looks like, right? So when you're disappointed, you get sad. When you're disappointed, you may not want to engage in, other activities. Like people may invite you out. People may also, your friends and family members may want to reach out to you to connect and you just don't feel like it. You also may not eat because you're disappointed. And that is also some indication of depression as well. So what is that clearly defined line, right? How do I know if I'm depressed or I'm just disappointed? Well, first, let's talk about whether something happened. If there was an event that occurred that caused you discomfort, that caused you to feel like, it was a gut punch, your expectations were high, or it was something where you didn't even set any expectations, but the event occurred and it caused you to feel like you were deeply impacted by it. What do I mean? All right, so let's use an example. So let's talk about betrayal in a relationship, right? A disappointment could be that this person that you trusted betrayed you. They lied to you. We'll use that as a betrayal, okay? And so you took this person's word as their bond, but they were being deceptive. And so then when you finally confront them and they tell you that it was a lie, or you find out that it was a lie, that is a great disappointment. And so we can use infidelity because that comes up in a lot of relationships when it comes to mamas and raising their children. All right. So you trusted this person with your heart, with your body, with, formulating a family dynamic, and this person stepped out on you. Your partner, the person you trusted with your life, went out and they were unfaithful to you. You discover this and you decide, you don't know what to decide. Let's just be honest. You don't know if you should stay because the kids are involved. You don't know if you should stay because you're madly in love. You don't know if you should stay because you're lonely, but you also don't know if you should leave, right? Because you feel like this is your family and forgiveness is important in your belief system. And you can't see yourself raising your children by yourself. So that can be disappointing that this person betrayed you, your trust, your love, your loyalty. And so now you're not eating, you're not sleeping, you're worried, you're anxious, you're wondering whenever he goes out or she goes out, are they cheating? Right? Now, this is disappointment because you didn't expect for that to happen. So with it being a disappointment and it being unexpected, now you have to adjust. Now you have decisions to make. But it's hard to make a decision when your heart is broken. It's hard to make a decision when you feel like the ultimate betrayal occurred. The person's act was deceptive and treasonous. All right, so that's one disappointment. This is going to touch sensitively to people, right? The other disappointment is disappointment and loss. When you connect with people in your family, outside of your family, you formulate relationships that are beautiful and wonderful. You've known them your whole life or even a couple of months, and you've bonded. And then to hear that they've transitioned from this earthly realm, they're not here anymore, that's a disappointment, which then leads to grief and loss. Disappointment is that emotional experience that you have, like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. Notice I said I can't believe that this is happening because disappointment happens first in the mind. Why? Because there was this expectation that I'm going to see them, I'll talk to them tomorrow. But it didn't happen that way. So When we have the disappointment due to death that then turns into grief and loss, how do we manage? How do we cope? Well, we'll talk about that in just a moment. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back after these messages.
This is a beat addicts beat. I'm eating like beat.
Keep your head up, even though I know you're fed up in life. Be throwing your punches, but you still gotta get up and fight. They low blows, but look, don't let it get you. Cause God, He got a plan, but Satan be trying to get you. I know you feel you're seeking, but both come to get you. Don't worry about the now, think of the bigger picture. Stay woke and stay focused. Don't let little stuff get you. Don't be scared of the devil when you can square up with. I stand tall, don't fall, I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall, I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall, I'm a champion. Say I'm a champion, say I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall. And this is like, if I'm looking irritated, whatever it is, this is real. This is a healing situation, so I'm not finna front. Straight up. This is my story, my truth. So we're going to go ahead and talk about it. I've been through some childhood trauma, and it pretty much has had my whole life in shambles. It has been a journey. It has been it's not easy to tell your story when your story is a real story. You know, as a child, I experienced some trauma, and being raped at the age of 7 and left for dead in the park truly made me go through some things that other kids probably wouldn't have to go through. But I believe that it made me stronger. And because I went through those things, I felt the need when I was going through my healing. I knew I wasn't the only one that was hurt. I know that my story is millions of women's story. It doesn't matter background. It doesn't matter race. It doesn't matter age.
My mom, when I was about 6 years old, sorry.
That's okay, honey. Just take your time. And we really appreciate you opening up and sharing to help other people, as I know it will.
Went to live with my mum when I was about 6, and I had to witness a lot of things. Like, my mum had been in relationships where, you know, she was physically abused. Like, I would see my mum get hit all the time and just have certain people come in and out of the house and everything. And it wasn't, you know, I didn't grow up in, like, it wasn't private. It was a completely different lifestyle than I was living with my grandmother. Because my grandmother, at least with her, even though she was divorcing my granddad, but she always kept me clean, and she made sure no one came to the house, and it was just a different type of...
About how old were you at that time?
About 6.
Okay.
About 6.
So very formative years.
Yeah, like, I had to see a lot of... I had to sort of be an adult from such a young little age without even realizing it.
It's important that we are our brother's keeper. It's important that we let people know that they're not alone, and there's life after abuse.
My truth is empowering women, uplifting women with the pain that I suffered growing up as a black woman out of Detroit, Michigan, a young black mother. And that's my purpose, is to uplift women. I loved everybody but me. Learn to love yourself. If my past can help another woman, that's what I want to do. I want to uplift women. That's my passion.
My truth is, I believe in being liberated, empowered, and innovated. My story is, I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada, in 22 foster homes, endured sexual abuse, was committed into a mental institution. My father happening in my life, that I'm a victorious person and I'm able to empower other people with my life and my story.
I was a pastor's wife, the whole stigma of being in church and being a church God-fearing woman and married to a pastor, and going through that, and we tend to put the men of God up on a pedestal and not realizing they are just men also. So through that marriage, dealing with abuse and abandonment, those were the major traumas that I dealt with, and it followed me, throughout my life. And also because I didn't have that, I was a daddyless daughter. I had my father and my mother in my life, but he was emotionally unavailable. So I was looking for that love that I didn't get from him in men. And, through those relationships were very traumatic. But, the abandonment, it really scarred me, like, in major ways. How could you, be with someone for 7 years and then, boom, all of a sudden you're gone? Well, you don't fall out of love overnight, So, what happened? You're left with so many questions and no closure. What am I supposed to do now? What it taught me is I have to stand on my own 2 feet. So that's what I tell my daughters now. You don't depend on anyone but God and the ability and the knowledge that He gives you to obtain wealth.
The reason why women empowerment is important to me is because it's all about helping impact that next generation to understand what their potential, their purpose, and their passion is. If we can tap in to help other women like myself to understand this, we can change the world and we can reach many, one person at a time.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Those stories are so, so powerful. And for many of you who could identify with those women, you can see that you are not alone and that support is available to you whenever you're ready to receive it. All right. So I'm so glad that you stayed with us. And we're going to delve right back into our discussion where we were talking about disappointment, dealing with disappointments. And so we talked about dealing with disappointment due to deception, right? Now we're going to talk about dealing with disappointment due to grief and loss, right? This person that you held near and dear to your heart, who's a part of your life, they are no longer in this earthly realm. They've transitioned. Their body is no longer here. And so you can't hear their voice on cue, right? You can't pick up the phone and call them. You can't go to their house and visit them. And so that is difficult. That is difficult. And so you experience disappointment before you go through the stages of grief and loss. And so that disappointment comes in when there's this expectation, whether consciously or subconsciously, that this person is going to be around and I'm going to be able to reach out to them at any given moment. But that doesn't happen when they are deceased, right? And so I was just on a previous live where one of the young ladies who comes on, she said to me, that her friend was just shot 25 times by police. And then she said, I'm going to check on them. And I said, okay, I was trying to continue my live, but then I said, okay, well, make sure you check on them, and then she said, he's gone, he's dead. And I said, whoa, right on my live, right? And I was like, I'm so sorry. My condolences to you. I'm going to pray for you and your friend and their family. And if you need me, let me know. But that in that moment, she stayed on the live. Now, I know that she was disappointed because the grief and the loss had not set in yet. It's the hearing of the news that startles you, that puts a halt to your world, stops the clock, and makes you take a deep breath and go, and not even a deep breath, it's more of a gasp where you're, oh my gosh, this can't be. One of the first stages of grief and loss is denial. And so, how do we deal with disappointment when death is in play with people that we love and care about? Well, the first thing is, before you get into that denial piece, verify. Is this true? Did it really happen? And if you are one of those people who have to have all the details, ask for the details. What happened? Where were they? Are you sure? What this does is this helps you to process that what's happened is real. Okay? It happened. And so then what comes up for you after just trying to get the information is you may feel these feelings, these overwhelming feelings of devastation. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. How could this be? What could possibly make him or her, right, be at that place at that time? Why, God? So your disappointment, you're here because you're trying to get the information, but then it sinks to devastation because, especially if you were close to that person, now you're crying. And I'm talking about you're weeping, where the tears are running down your face and the snot's running down your nose, and you can barely catch your breath because it hurts. So the devastation turns to pain. So you've gone from disappointment to devastation to feeling that pain. So how do we get to a place where we can manage the pain, the devastation, and the disappointment? So you get your facts, find out what happened. You may feel like you're being nosy, but if that's what's going to help you understand that this is what really happened, then I want the next thing you to do to deal with this disappointment is I want you to get connected to the people who were close to them too. Why would I do that? Why can't I just be by myself in my private time? Because when you are in a pain and you're dealing with disappointment, it is not good for you to be alone. Because there's no telling how you'll respond on your own cognition when you're by yourself. There are so many things that you could be thinking in your mind. Like, I want to know who did it so I can roll up on them. Revenge might set in. You get what I'm saying? And there'll be nobody to govern you. And you can't come back from the consequences if you go out here in your painful state. Okay? The other thing that you may be thinking is, how am I going to move on without them in my life? You need to be around other people, because when you're around the support system, they'll say, we'll get through this together. We'll all be able to move forward. We just got to figure out how. Right? And so then the third reason why you want to be around other people to provide you with that support, and this goes to people who you're connected to and you see them hurting, devastated, disappointed with death and how it impacted their life. Have empathy for them. And then I want you, if you're experiencing it, to have some empathy for yourself. Understand that it is okay for you to cry. You won't have to always be super strong. You can be vulnerable. It's not weak, it's vulnerable. You would be considered abnormal if you didn't show emotion during a time of the death of a loved one or a person that is close to you. Feel. That's what you need to do. You need to be around other support systems so you can really feel. Problem that we have is we decide that we want to disconnect and we want to strong arm it. You want to stand tall, right? And you want to just say, I don't have to do, I'm not even going to be sad about it. I'm just going to go out here and I'm going to grind, get my mind off of it. But then what happens is you're not able to resolve those emotions that you felt when you heard of the news and when they transitioned from this earth. So then, because you decided to avoid it, it is going to be something that constantly is brought up in your life. It's unresolved. And then you'll be making decisions from a place of grief that you did not address, and you won't remember why. 5-10 years can go down the line. And then you finally sit with someone like a counselor, a therapist like myself, or a coach, a mental health coach. And then they'll bring up, or will bring up, the fact that, I remember you told me that you lost a friend, you lost a cousin, a brother, sister, mother, uncle, somebody close to you, father, right? Very close friend, business partner. And ever since that day, it appears that your pattern of behavior displayed some hurt because of that. Go back there and tell me what you felt. Did you ever take a moment to grieve? Did you ever take a moment to cry? Did you ever take a moment to talk to someone about how disappointed and heartbroken you were? We got to go back. Because at that point, in that moment, that's where you became different. When you refused to allow your body to naturally respond to the hurt, the pain, the disappointment, and the devastation, you changed. And so what I want you to know is that disappointments, honestly, depending on how you handle your disappointment, it can change you for good or for bad. I have a method that I teach called the calm method for how to handle disappointment. Okay. And so the C stands for, can I do something about this in my current situation? Can I bring them back? I can't. When it comes to the betrayal of a loved one, can I do something to make them want to be with me, to be faithful to me? No. Okay. Am I the person, right? Am I the person that needs to step up and do something about it? All right. So loss of a loved one, am I the person to do something about it? Well, what can you do? You can be there for the family members who are impacted by it. You could get grief counseling and support for yourself. That's what you can do. In the case of the wayward lover, you would ask yourself, am I the person to repair this relationship? If the answer is no, then you have decisions to make. All right? Some of us want to be the person to repair the relationship, but you weren't the person or party at fault. So you're overcompensating just so that they can come back. You got to love yourself and value yourself more and enough to know when someone is not appreciative and devaluing you. You are worth more than precious diamonds and gems, other gems. So you have to get to a point where you have this high self-esteem and high confidence and this high sense of worthiness for yourself. Okay. And then when it comes to the disappointment regarding death of a loved one, the next step is let things flow the way they need to go. Let's lean back and see how everything plays out. What you'll find is that you have connected with people who love them just as much as you did. You're getting support for yourself. Okay? And then you are helping whenever you can. So if arrangements are being made, you're making yourself available. What you're not doing is getting overly inundated and overcommitting because you feel like that's going to help take the pain away. So you want to roll your sleeves up and get all the way up in it and get stressed out, because that's what's going to happen, because you're trying to run a show or you're trying to do too much and you're not allowing yourself a space to be able to heal. You have your whole set of obligations, your mommying, right? Business. Maybe you work a 9 to 5, got to take care of a household. You might be a spouse or a partner. You're doing all of these things. And then you're going to help out with arrangements. But then you get in too deep where you want to be on every committee. No, you don't have to do that. Commit to one thing. Show up as yourself and give it all that you can in that moment. But remember that you have been impacted as well. Okay? So not only have you decided, I'm going to get the facts, I'm going to connect with other people, I'm going to get the support that I need, and I'm going to pitch in because it's going to make me feel better. It feels like I'm contributing to the memorial of the person that transitioned. And so then once the ceremony happens where they are buried or cremated, right? You're still going to feel that pain, but it won't be as much because you know you did all that you could to contribute, right, to sending them off or laying them to rest. Now, the work continues. What do you do now that they're gone? They've been laid to rest. You're going to go through the stages of grief. You're going to go through, wow, I can't believe that happened. We really put him in the ground. That's the denial piece that I was trying to get you to not really go into. You may go through some anger. You may start bargaining, like, if they was only here, this wouldn't have happened, right? God, how could this be? I wish it was me instead of them. Do you really wish that? Or is that your emotion and your pain talking? Then you might go through a phase of where you're depressed. And then you're going to go to a place where you're accepting. Me as a coach for mental health, I'm talking to you here right now to help you get to a place of acceptance just a little bit faster. Just a little bit. Because the stages are not linear. They don't go in any particular order. Sometimes you go back to the place where you were accepting, but then it's like, whoa, I still can't believe it. But I want you to know that if you use the strategy that I just shared with you, right, it's going to help you. So we talked about that. And then the M in the calm method is managing your emotions and having a good day. Yes, you're going to cry. Yes, you'll get sad. Yes, you'll even get angry. But you have to manage yourself. Go somewhere where you can cry that ugly cry. Have that cry. Because when you don't, your anger resurfaces at the most inopportune times. And then you can I don't want to say lash out. You can blow up, right, on your children, on your significant other, on anybody, really. You could be standing in line at the Costco and a person is taking too long. And the next thing you know, you're ready to bomb them out because you are angry at the fact that this person is no longer here. And y'all used to go to Costco together all the time. And y'all would be standing there waiting for the slow people. But y'all didn't really mind because y'all were chopping it up. You were talking. And then y'all had tried all of the samples, right? I don't know if they're still doing samples now because of COVID, but That was a memory for you. So now you're angry because this used to be y'all thing and y'all used to wait together. And now it's a reminder. And so this person is taking forever. And you used to be patient when that other person who is no longer with you, their loved one that passed on, is not there to wait with you. So now you getting antsy. You're becoming irritable and angry. And now you want to fuss and cuss because you're hurt. That's what happened there. All right. So what does that mean? Take a moment. Is there anything that you can do about that person being in the front of you? No, not right now. Am I the person that's supposed to make a change in the situation? Well, you could say, hey, how long do we think it's going to take? Or you could just be quiet and find something productive to do, like scroll on your phone, listen to some songs, put your earbuds in, wait, or have a book or a magazine that you pull out. And then you want to let things play out to see how they're going to go. Oh, the person was standing in line and they didn't realize that they had a hold on their account. So they needed to work something out with their bank. And then they look back at you and they say, thank you so much for your patience. Or they look back at you and roll their eyes because you didn't have any patience, right? Okay. Let things play out and then you manage your emotions. Take some deep breaths and then you keep going. Wow, we really, really used to hang out. Now, another thing is what may happen is, the person at the cash register may say, hey, you here by yourself in the Costco. Where's your friend? Of course, that's going to release a well of tears. And they're going to look at you perplexed. What's going on? And you may or may not share they died. If you do share, and that person, of course, is going to give their condolences. I'm so sorry. And what may end up happening is they'll say, I remember y'all used to come in here every week. And y'all would just be giggling. Or y'all would just, we know y'all was just sampling all the stuff, right? And that may make you laugh because laughter is medicine. And the person's going to say, well, you know what? You could come to my line anytime if you need to. That'll help give you some solace, right? Yeah. That was a connection that you made. Who knows? You may end up, nobody can replace your friend in the Costco, right? Y'all going in the line, waiting and cutting up. But it's good to know that if somebody notices and recognizes that they were impacted by your friend or loved one too. So that's just an example. So yes, you're going to cry. You're going to load your stuff up, get to the car, and you're going to cry. And it's going to be okay. But what's going to happen next is I need you to reach out to somebody. Because what happens is in those vulnerable moments, you just think that it's supposed to be a moment where you just release your emotions by yourself. But can I tell you something? You can cry together with someone. And for some reason, it makes you feel better knowing that you're not alone in it. Okay? All right. So I know that I spent a lot of time talking about that, but I feel like that is something that comes up regularly. Disappointment due to deception and betrayal, and disappointment due to death of a loved one, someone we care closely about. All right? Or care deeply about, I should say. Whew. So let's take a deep breath. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Last time, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Very good. All right, now that we have done a bit of a reset, we're moving on to Ask Ashley. All right. So I have questions that have come in from parents. So it's not just a mama question. I have a dad who has a question to ask me. So the first one is from a mama, and I'm going to read it to you, and I'm going to give my recommendation. All right. So this mama said, Coach Ash, I love it. Hi, mama. Coach Ash, it's been hard for me to get over anxiety. My oldest daughter, who is a teenager, is really acting out and is driving me up the wall. She lost her father to COVID last year and has been giving me so many problems. Her dad was very abusive to me and I left him. She blames me sometimes and we bump heads almost every day. I find myself not even wanting to come home sometimes. It makes me feel like a bad mom, but I can only do so much. I never told her how her dad used to beat me and cheat on me daily. Whoa. He was a great guy to everyone but me. I am just overwhelmed with her bad attitude and behavior. Do you have any advice? Sorry for the long message, but I need direction. Okay. Hey, mama. Hope you are watching. If not, we're going to make sure you get the replay. All right. So thank you so much for being vulnerable and open and really telling what's happening in your world, because no doubt it's affecting you internally and externally. So, of course, it's going to be difficult for you to get over anxiety, especially if it's not being treated. That's one thing. So I would like to know if you've ever been treated for your anxiety, and then what kind of anxiety is it? Okay. My oldest daughter, who's a teenager, is really acting out. Okay. So your daughter, teenagers, let me just say, because I have an 18-year-old, teenagers are very difficult to manage. You cannot discipline them the way that you used to discipline them when they were school age children. All right. Once they hit the adolescent section or stage, I should say, of development, once they get to the place where they're trying to figure out who they are, I don't know how old she is, but it's definitely her wanting to discuss her identity. And then there's this issue around role confusion. Her identity is tied to her dad. I need you to understand that for a moment. And so part of her identity is lost because he is not here in this world. He's not here in the earth. He transitioned. So he's gone from her forever. She is dealing with a deep loss, not just that of the presence of her father, but also of her identity. Okay? I need you to understand that part. Now for you, mama, you have a history of trauma and abuse and neglect as it relates to her father. Yes. So you won't be able to relate to her pain. You can only respect that it's there. Because your view of him is completely different. You both had two separate experiences of him. Therefore, it is hard for you to connect. And so what needs to happen is that there needs to be a conversation where she is able to honestly speak what she's feeling and that it be respected. And a moment for you to speak what you are feeling and it be respected. The difficult part is, you know, you never told her who her dad was, right? That's difficult because now, you know, when you share it and he just died last year, she's in pain. She's grieving really, really deeply. And so it is common for teenagers to act out when they lose a parent. Okay, this is common. It's not abnormal. And she's going to be hurting in pain for a very long time. Right now, it's time for support from her mom and a community of other people, because you can't do it by yourself. So I would say my recommendation is to get her in counseling. She needs to be in grief counseling, and you need to be in some type of therapy yourself. You are a survivor of domestic violence. I don't know if you've ever got help, but that's where you start. You need to get some therapy, or you can get some coaching from myself to help you understand exactly where you are, or you can get both, to be quite honest. Therapy, and you can also get coaching, because therapy is going to help you kind of go back to that place and try to figure out how to heal from there. The mental health coaching is going to help you deal with your situation like right now, right? You need steps. You need somebody to kind of help you see things different from a different perspective, to help you understand your daughter is not trying to attack you. She's in pain. She's on the defense. Okay? I know you feel attacked because she's acting up, and then many of her mannerisms may remind you of her dad. And that could be frustrating for you because he was not kind to you. But it doesn't mean that your daughter should be treated without the sensitivity that's necessary for a child who's lost her parent. Okay? So I'm a very honest coach. So I want you to just take that and kind of chew on that for a moment. Let that process. If you lost your parent at her age, how would you feel? Wouldn't you be angry at the world? Right? Because it seems like it's something that happened in the world that took out her dad. Wouldn't you be argumentative because he's not here? Wouldn't you be upset and angry and hurt? So I just want you to try to respect where she is in her grieving process. Okay. For you though, I don't know why she would blame you for his death. I'm not sure where that is. I don't have enough information to speak on that. And maybe, if you schedule some time to talk with me, I can kind of get a better sense. But because I don't know the reason she's blaming you, I can't really go into that. But I can say that you guys are going to bump heads if there's no respect for each other during this critical time of grief and loss for her, and during this time, because honestly speaking, you may also be grieving the loss of somebody you had a relationship with, a child with, who also oppressed and abused you. That's why I said you're going to need to talk to a mental health professional to help you deal with that. Because it sounds like it has brought up more of this thing. This is who he was to me. You're angry, you're upset, but you don't know what type of person he was. Well, to her, she never knew that. You didn't share it. To her, she never experienced that. He never showed it. Okay, so let's back up and let's really okay, this is what's really happening. All right, so I need you to go to get support from a mental health professional to talk about your pain and the past experiences and why that's coming up so heavy for you right now. Given the fact that your daughter is grieving, and you are going to bump heads if you are not both able to respect each other right now. Because right now, it's about, for teenagers, it's about respect. Isn't that interesting? When what you want from them is respect. So they feel like this is the way the teens' minds operate, is that there needs to be a mutual respect from parent and child. They don't get that you are still the authority figure and you're their coach right now. So there has to be a conversation around respect and compromise. So whenever you're available to, book a call with me, you can do that through bit.ly/mama breakthrough. If you schedule a breakthrough call with me, then maybe I can get a sense of what is happening in terms of like the breakdown of respect. Where did that happen? Right? I need to know that. Where did she stop respecting you, and when did you stop respecting her? And then we need to repair that and repair the communication so you guys can do better, because you guys shouldn't be bumping heads like that. I mean, you are going to bump heads because teenagers, especially daughters, like, I'm just going to be honest with you, when they hit 13, things change. Around what, 15, 16? Whoo, 15 primarily is the age where it's like, oh, it's about to go down. Okay. So if your daughter's around 14 to 15 years old, that's a very, very critical moment where we got to talk about respect, and we got to talk about how both of us, or both you and your daughter, show up when you're in the house, because you're saying that you don't even want to be home. That's your house. What you mean you don't want to be home? No, we need to change that. You should be able to both exist in your home, and there's respect. There may not be like right now, but there's respect. Okay. Let's see. You're not a bad mom. There just needs to be a little bit more awareness around what's happening with your daughter, exploration around what you guys need to do to improve your relationship, your communication, and the respect level. So you're not a bad mom. No. Don't say that. And I know you may feel like it, but that's not it. You just need some support. You need someone to talk to. You need somebody who understands you, where you are with this, and can guide you to a better, healthier relationship with your daughter. Because I know you love her. It's just different. Okay, so her father was a great guy to everyone but you. Okay. Well, I don't know about how to, it may feel like that. I don't know if you know any of his prior relationships, but you probably weren't the only one. I want you to know that. Even though it feels like you were the only one that he mistreated, you probably weren't the only one. An abusive person doesn't just abuse one person. Okay, that's a pattern of behavior. All right, so I want you to know that. Okay. You're overwhelmed with her bad attitude and behavior. We talked about that. Do you have any advice? So hope I gave you advice. Hopefully that it stuck. That's the advice. You guys need to get some support. She needs to get grief counseling. I'm just making sure that I broke down everything, okay? Because I don't like to miss a beat when it comes to a mom asking a very complex question. So she needs grief therapy or grief counseling. She also needs a support group of other teenagers who have lost their parents due to COVID or something like that, right? You need a therapist or a mental health coach. I'd love to support you if that's what you want to do. I think you need both, honestly. Then you also need a circle of support. You need a sister circle. And because there's some healing that needs to happen, and you need also to know that you're not in this by yourself. So how do we expand your support system? That's what's going to be really, really critical for you. You need the support system, because anytime you feel like you don't want to go home, well, where do you go? And then what kind of support system do you have, where they will let you call them in your car and they say, girl, you better, they're not going to say, girl, you better go in that house. I'll be over there. I'm coming to your house. You need to be in the house right now. It's COVID outside. Okay. And we want to keep you safe. All right. So that is what I have to offer you. Hopefully it was helpful and it gave you some direction. All right, Mama, I am wishing you the best of luck, and I would love for you to begin to heal, because you definitely are still very, very wounded by your daughter's father's treatment of you. So we want you to get healed. We want you to get the support that you need so that you and your daughter can begin to have a respectful relationship with one another. And then you can repair whatever breakdown there was so that you can formulate a stronger bond. Okay? All right. Hope that was helpful. And to any mama who is experiencing this, I hope that was helpful to you too. All right. So next question. This is a dad. He says, I'm a single father of 2 girls, 10 and 12, and they're asking for their mom, but she used to abuse them. That's why I have custody. What type of resources are out here for men raising children alone? I want my girls healthy. What can I do to make sure they grow up stable-minded? I don't want them mad, but they can't be alone with mom. Court order. I don't know what to do, so I figured I would reach out. All right. So here's what it is. Kudos to you for being the dad who stepped in to save his daughters from a parent who was not able to protect her children. All right. Kudos to you. Not only did she not protect them, but she abused them. So you stepped up. Excellent. Excellent, Dad. There are a few resources depending on where you are in the world. So if you are in the U.S., I would encourage you to, the federal government has something called the Fatherhood Initiative Program. I want you to Google it. Okay. There's several fatherhood initiative programs that are out here. So put your state and then fatherhood initiative. This is an organization and programming that is designed to support fathers who are actively involved in their children's lives. And you may also reap some support from other fathers who are also single parents, right? And so raising daughters alone is hard. I'm sure it's been challenging. I know that you don't want them to be mad, but they are going to be upset. They just need to understand that it's not safe to be with mommy. Okay. And so the way that you guys can have a conversation about it, if they ask questions about their mom, it's okay to gently be honest. Okay. You don't want to speak really negatively about your the other parent, the absent parent. But what you do want to do is make sure that your children feel like they are not in the dark on certain things. Like if they remember the abuse and they still want to meet with their mom, well then, I don't know, you may want to say, hey, mom's not feeling well. She's got to get the help that, she's got to get help and support so she can be better. And I don't know where that's going to lead. If she's going to be able to, see you guys or be around you guys or what. But I'm your dad and I'm here to protect you and provide for you. And so I'm going to do the best that I can. And then you give them some love, right? So you're going to need a fatherhood support program, okay? Your daughters are going to need to be connected with other girls. And so your support system really matters. So if you have like aunts and cousins that they can be around, that where it's going to be a pleasant experience for them to be around them, you want to definitely lean on those women figures in your life so that they can say that they experienced having somewhat of a maternal figure as part of their upbringing. Okay. So if you're not in a relationship and you have like aunts and aunties, I said aunts and aunties, your grandmama, your mama, cousins, play sisters, right, that you trust, right? Women who you view as empowered, loving, caring, giving, protective, positive women in your life. If you have that, then you want your children to be exposed to that, because you don't want them to miss that maternal presence. You're giving them the paternal presence, so they're going to need the maternal presence. So that is my advice to you. So you want to reach out and get connected to the Fatherhood Initiative programs that are in the U.S. if you're here. And then, put in your state, Google it. And then for your girls, you want to definitely get them around some women in your family and let it be constant. Let it be constant so that they are experiencing the embrace of a woman, right? It's nothing like being able to go to talk to auntie about what's going on with your dad, or what's going on at school, or what's going on with your friends. That's important to girls. We like to talk, we like to chit chat, we like to get advice, all that good stuff. So you want to make sure those positive women are in your life and that they're spending time with them too. Okay. You don't need to leave the room all the time. You could be there with them. That also gives them a sense of, wow, this is so cool. I grew up with, having my cousins and my aunts and my dad. Right. And so it lessens the blow of them not having mommy around during this time, during these formative years. Okay. So that means, right, that when you have these positive women in their lives and you have the support that you need from the fatherhood initiatives, that means that your daughters are going to grow up healthy, because you're going to learn how to take care of them better, right? Auntie and grandma and cousin and them going to say, what you doing to these girls' hair, or what you feeding them, right? They need to be eating this, and this, right? And then your girls may be having their cycle. So you definitely want to make sure that you have a female family member to talk to them and make sure they have what they need. Hey, to talk to you, say, hey, it's about time you go get the family pack, right, of pads and whatever they need. Oh, they're a little bit moody right now. It's okay. They'll be fine. They may be having some little cravings. They may not be, they may be irritable, like people to kind of guide you on this thing. And they need to be around women who are going to understand the fact that they are girls and love up on them too. So that's how they can grow up mentally and emotionally healthy and physically healthy. They've got you to protect them, provide for them, and to feed them good food, right? And then to let them go out and play on the playground and get involved in sports and other extracurricular activities, and you're going to show up for them. And so there is what to do. All right. So hopefully, if you're watching, Dad, I just gave you a game plan on how you can achieve your goal of making sure your daughters grow up healthy and not be as mad. All right. And that you get the support that you need. So, that was a lot, but this is what I do to help make sure that you have the tools and the strategies that you need to be successful in healing and getting your needs met so that you can be emotionally and mentally stable. Okay. So if you were taking notes, great job. If you didn't take any notes, but there were some things that resonated with you, make sure you come back to this live so that you can get all the nuggets that you feel were valuable. And so those are the two questions that we have from Ask Ashley. And I'm so glad that you were able to join us. Hey, if you are experiencing depression, anxiety, disappointment, you are in a very difficult and complex situation where you need coaching and support so that you can heal better, feel better, get to a point and a place where you're starting to be a better version of yourself. If you need guidance and skills and strategies to help you become a better version, a better and healed, happier version of yourself, and you're looking for mental health support, then feel free to reach out to me. You can go to bit.ly/Mama Breakthrough, or you can simply reach me here on Facebook at Conquering You, or you can visit my website for more information at www.conquering-u.com. I am so glad that you joined us on tonight for my Mental Health Matters. I am so grateful. Thank you, Mama, and thank you, Papa, for submitting your questions for guidance. I'm sure that you are not the only person who is experiencing this. So hopefully it has helped those who are watching right now. All right. Was that a lot today, y'all? Okay. Well, I'm glad that you stuck around. Thank you so much. This has been an very enlightening and enjoyable, even though it was heavy, what we were talking about, it was enjoyable for me because this is the way that I get to serve. Okay. I get to serve you all and give you whatever information is necessary to help move you forward in your healing. All right. And so we want to give a great quick shout out though, but a great shout out to Miss Lyric, the beautiful beast herself, for hosting this, and She Powerment TV for making it possible for us to host my Mental Health Matters Mondays. And then also shout out to her husband who is doing the production backstage. Thank you. Thank you. And to Curvy Alliance, who is sponsoring, making this available, this support available to everyone on the platform of Facebook. And if this has been shared other places, thank you for tuning in. All right. Have a good night. That is all we have until next Monday. To your healing. I'm Ashley Corbett.
This is a beat addicts beat. I'm eating white beat.
Keep your head up, even though I know you're fed up in life. Be throwing your punches, but you still gotta get up and fight. They low blows, but look, don't let it get you. Cause God, He got a plan, but Satan be trying to get you. I know you feel you're seeking, but both come to get you. Don't worry about the now, think up the bigger picture. Stay woke and stay focused. Don't let little stuff get you. Don't be scared of the devil when you can square up where I stand tall, don't fall, I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall, I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall, I'm a champion. Say I'm a champion, say I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall, I'm a champion. Stand tall, don't fall, you're a champion. Stand tall, don't fall, you're a champion. Say I'm a champion, say I'm a champion. Yeah, I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. No, I was slipping, I was falling, but God caught me, bruh. And I done lived in them streets, and I done done enough. And I done lived life rough, the streets, they made me tough. But enough of the confessions of my past transgressions. I'm speaking all my truths, I done learned all my lessons. Just hoping to inspire through a musical message. I live my life just here in mere existence. So much didn't happen to me, sometimes life left me crippled. I'm strong cause I survived, and God ain't let it kill me, thank thank God it didn't kill me. And now I'm on a mission just for abundant living. I fell in cause he with me. I stand tall, I won't fall, I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall, I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall, I'm a champion. Say I'm a champion, said I'm a champion.
I stand tall, won't fall, I'm a champion. Stand tall, don't fall, you're a champion. Stand tall, don't fall, you're a champion. Say I'm a champion, say I'm a champion. I'm a champion, champion, champion. I'm a champion, champion, champion. Said I'm a champion, champion, champion. I'm a champion, champion, champion.
I am survivor.
I stand tall, I won't fall.
Cause I'm champion.
I stand tall, I won't fall. I'm a champion.
I'm a champion, I stand tall, I won't fall. I'm a champion.
I stand tall, I won't fall. I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall. I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall. I'm a champion. I stand tall, I won't fall. I am a champion. I stand tall, I will not fall. I am a champion.
I stand tall, won't fall, and I'm a champion.
I'm a survivor. I stand tall, I won't fall. I am a champion.
I'm a champion.
I'm a champion!
I'm a champion. Said I'm a champion, a champion.
I am a champion.